guys, the time is 3 p.m. in the UK where the webinar is being broadcasted today. We're about to start the webinar, which will probably be approximately 1 hour. Before we begin, if you can just press the mute button so that you're silent, and just note that the webinar will be recorded. Okay. So let's start with the introduction. Firstly, thank you to everyone for joining us today for the webinar on why the wheel doesn't need reinventing. We're just going to focus on the second part of the CIO survey report today. Some of you may have already had the chance to go through the report itself. The research identified the opportunity for IT to lead the way in improving internal service, but we'll go into more depth about what this means for you. Thank you to all our UK and US attendees today for taking the time to join us on this webinar. I'll quickly introduce myself and our main speaker for today. My name's Tina, I'm the Marketing Executive for Fruition Partners in the UK. I'll be introducing the background information for Fruition Partners, our acquisition by CSC, and a brief background on ServiceNow. I'll close off the webinar with any questions, so please note down anything you want to ask at the end of the presentation. We've also got John Perks here today.
Hi there.
John is Fruition Partners' principal consultant. He has over 15 years experience in the industry and is a ServiceNow certified implementation consultant and trainer. He has applied his knowledge and expertise to many of our clients' projects, so he really is someone with a lot of knowledge and understands the ins and outs of ServiceNow platform, having worked across many industries. John's delivered many non-IT applications using ServiceNow, from process design to technical implementation, so he'll be taking us through the CIO survey results. Here's the agenda for today. We'll begin the webinar with an overview of Fruition Partners, the acquisition with CSC, and the partnership with ServiceNow. I'll hand over the webinar to John, who will then take you through the findings of the report and research. At the end of the webinar, you'll have a chance to ask some questions, so we'll also let you know about the events and webinars that are coming up. So a bit about Fruition Partners. Well, what is there to know? We are the only partner you need. From this slide, I'll explain why we are the only master solutions provider in the UK, which is the highest tier of partnership that you can get with ServiceNow. We'll also talk about our ServiceNow partnership, how we are bringing automation beyond IT. We've been in the ITIL service management space for over 18 years. For the past 6 years, we have dedicated our practice only to working with ServiceNow as our service management tool choice, and have continually proven to bringing automation beyond IT. We've come to understand the ins and outs of the tool to help us establish how effective it could be for your business. If we look at scale, the Fruition team are knowledgeable in all areas of the ServiceNow platform. We've got employees that can help customers with all levels of queries from basic to more technical. From a scale perspective, you can see that we've got over 300 employees, over 100 are certified administrators, and more than 50 are implementation specialists with years of ServiceNow experience. So when you're working with Fruition, you'll be rest assured that you're in good hands and working with the people who can only guide you in the right direction. If we look at the focus, you'll be impressed to see how hard we work to deliver high quality services to our clients. In the marketplace, we've achieved 3 times more projects than any other active partner, with an average consistent aggregate of 8.5 out of 10 for customer satisfaction. We've received the highest score from customers in the past couple of years with our competitors, which just goes to show how much detail and effort we'll go to for our clients to deliver the best of the best and how we stay competitive in the industry. If we look at transformation, hard work obviously pays off, and at Fruition Partners, our clients get to experience exactly how far we will go for our customers. So if you go on the journey with us, we'll help to transform client service management. It's not a one-time implementation, but an ongoing journey that aims to change the service environment. We've had completed over 1,700 projects for our 800+ customers. We continue to offer more help and advice to our customers to ensure they're making the best use of the platform. If we look at operation, we can assist with the running of the service now, where it can prove to be slightly more technical than customers sometimes realise. A lot of our clients use us to run their ServiceNow instance because we are the best in what we do and are fully trained to handle the job. Finding an expert in the platform can be hard, so our fruition specialists have the training, experience, and ServiceNow talent. Looking at innovation, we are the leading edge of using ServiceNow to drive innovation in the service industry. We think this helps us support our customers to get more and more out of ServiceNow. Fruition partners invest a lot of time, money, and resource into putting back into ServiceNow. With our certified apps, we have created all types of ServiceNow connectors and invest heavily into the R&D department to help take clients along the journey to the next phase of their service management. With Fruition partners by your side, you won't have to worry about what's going to happen next because we're most likely to know already and we'll take you forward with the advances. Just go to the next slide. We'll be looking at the end-to-end service management. So it's a good idea to know quickly how Fruition will work with customers through their journey and look at what is involved. If we look at advice, we will firstly, obviously, try to understand your individual service management strategy and what it looks like today, how it's working, and how it compares to best practice. We'll then be able to identify and map where the company wants to go, and sometimes this can take organizational change management. We want to understand what the customer needs and wants are, and then advise them with the best suited solution. With implementation and education, we've also got the implementation phase where we'll be implementing ServiceNow Instance, and we'll show you how this new tool is new and effective way of doing work to a higher adoption rate. We'll also help to educate the organization for technical learning and implementation process. We want our customers to be experts in the ServiceNow platform, so we do offer ITIL education certified ServiceNow training as well. If we look at operation, as we spoke about earlier, we also manage the services for you. So we can set it up for you and you can subscribe to certain numbers of hours a month or a holistic outsource. We'll be there for you if you need some help and want to invest more time into the rest of the business. We'll be there to manage the service for you. Looking at innovation again, as mentioned before, innovation is key for us. We invest into the platform and have R&D people that can look to create new solutions on the platform so that customers can grow with and can learn with other things that ServiceNow tool can do. We'll guide you to show you how much more effectively your business can run and what the best tool collaborations there are. So if you are looking for a partner to help you get the most out of ServiceNow, this is why we're the best partners to work with and will be the only partners that you need. If we look at the acquisition recently that has just happened for Fruition Partners, I'll give a quick introduction on who CSC are. They're the global leader of next generation information technology, IT services and solutions. The company's mission is to enable superior returns on clients' technology investments through best-in-class industry solutions, domain expertise and global scale. CSC has approximately 70,000 employees and reported revenue of $11.7 billion for the past 12 months, ending July 3rd, 2015. Fruition was acquired by CSC, namely GBS, Global Business Services, which is 1/3 of CSC's business. They will still be operating as an independent company to continue giving our customers a full amount of support and advice, plus more. We were purchased for our wealth of expertise and service management experience with ServiceNow and taking our clients through the journey from transformation, operation, and innovation. As you can tell from this graph, GBS number slide, they've created $4.4 billion worth of business and have around 33,000 dedicated professionals serving clients. We can see that a lot of companies are crying out for transformation, and we're excited to be joining CSC because we get access to a lot more opportunities. Now, if we go on to ServiceNow, as its name suggests, it is service-orientated, and ServiceNow, as an enterprise cloud company, provides a service model that gives definition and structure to tasks and process. It automates workflow, eliminating email, spreadsheets, to streamline service delivery. ServiceNow is not just for the IT department, as we'll show. It is used across the departments, including HR, facilities, and finance. As you can see, the company is global and works with clients from around the world. ServiceNow has more than 3,400 customers and over 2,800 employees. The last graph on the revenue and growth is self-explanatory, but you can see how the company's growth has continued to increase more and more over the years, just showing the impact it has on the industry and proving to make a difference with so many people seeing value in it. From $683 million last year on revenue, ServiceNow has grown to generating around $1 billion. It stands out amongst its competitors with its single system of record and single architecture. So from this slide, every department in the enterprise has to deal with issues, as we all know, and that can be costly and time-consuming. ServiceNow looks at a range of areas, IT, HR, operations, that can benefit from the single system record. These are just a few examples of some of the customers and businesses that ServiceNow has benefited from. I'll now hand over the slide to John Peck, who will explain the CIO Survey report.
Hello again. So we meet lots of customers every day, and we hear their experiences, and we hear lots of stories. We hear stories of those customers and their other departments, the non-IT departments, HR, facilities, legal, marketing, all of these other people. And the first thing we most often hear about is this other department's gone out and had a whole project to buy a new IT platform of some description. They didn't engage IT very well. They've made a poor business case. It didn't include the operational support of the product. But whatever they've decided to buy, they expect IT to support it, and they don't expect IT to have any say in how that will happen. They just expect it to happen. So we're hearing those stories, but more concerning, we're also hearing stories now of other parts of the organization that are actually just going out and buying shadow IT products. And it's so much easier to do in the cloud. They just go along, they find something online they like, they write a check, they set the thing up, and then all of a sudden when it doesn't quite work right, they come back to IT and they expect IT to support it. And this gives a real issue to IT. First of all, we have to support things that we didn't have any say in the users buying, and we therefore have to skill up, and it's all based on the current budget. No future budget is allowed for it. But even more concerning is that there are risks to them buying other products, and they haven't looked at the security, and we have no idea how this is governed. We have no control over the products that they're purchasing. Well, we decided that we needed some information on this. This was all stories we'd heard. We hear them every time we talk to a customer, but we didn't have any evidence for this. So we went out and made a survey, and we wanted to find out what the case was and how organizations were dealing with it. And we were looking to identify opportunities to help our customers address these issues that they were seeing further afield than just IT. How did we do it? Well, we employed a market researcher, Vance and Bourne, and we did this early this year, and we built out a comprehensive list of questions. You'd always expect that for a survey. And we went and surveyed 100 CIOs or senior decision makers in companies that were greater than 1,000 employees, and in fact 60% were greater than 3,000 employees. And it turned out we surveyed 4% of UK enterprise. So this is what 100 CIOs across some of the senior companies in the country had to say about what was happening. What they told us wasn't a surprise. It matched up with the stories that we've been hearing. Consumerization of IT is moving into the workplace. What that actually means is people have a different experience of IT than they had 5 or 10 years ago, and they're expecting the same experience at work, and they therefore expect to just go out and get hold of IT to do the jobs that they want to do. But 92% of the CIOs were also saying that their users actually want centralized, consistent access to internal services. They want common systems. We've got a significant loss of revenue through the use of all of these multiple service models, and 98% of the CIOs, so all but 2 of them, believe that IT has something significant to tell people about how to do IT for the other organizations. We also found that only 22%, less than a quarter, of the enterprises were using the same platforms across all functions. So we're seeing lots of different platforms being used by lots of different organizations, and therefore we came up with a 4-point action plan for CIOs. And just for an example of my own experience, I went to a significant retailer in the UK a few years ago, And one of the issues they wished to address was that their joiners process had 7 pieces of paper on 5 different desks for people to fill in. There's no consolidation of this, and we see this all over the place all the time. And that meant that the line manager or their delegate had to go around these 5 desks and know where those 5 desks were, pick up those 7 pieces of paper, fill out quite often the same information on all of those 7 pieces of paper to guarantee that the new joiner will have all of the setup that they should have had when they came to join the company. And of course, if they got a new manager, he didn't know where all the 5 desks were, he'd miss one, and then he'd be very upset because his new joiner couldn't access, for example, the financial system. And it was because they'd never presented it in a consolidated way to those users, and then the managers didn't have a chance of doing it correctly. And that's just within IT. It gets even worse beyond IT, and I'm sure you can all think of examples in your own organization, most evident in joiners process, but evident in lots of different ways, where it takes a significant effort and some knowledge of the organization to achieve anything, to get anything done. So why the wheel doesn't need reinventing? We believe that IT can show the rest of the business how to improve internal service delivery and so potentially save businesses across the nation millions, but in individual organizations, potentially up to 1 million just in your one organization. And the other thing is, of course, how can we make the CIOs look good? So this report looks at how we can help the CIOs to better serve their employees, save money, reduce time spent, and achieve efficiency gains. And also how CIOs therefore can demonstrate best practice, encourage other functions to learn, and re-establish IT as a driver of value for the business, and of course as a driver of quality as well. As a general rule, across the UK, 40% of managers' time is wasted on unnecessary administration that could be streamlined by technology. By 2017, Gartner's predicting that 2/3 of all of our customer service interactions will no longer require support of human intermediaries. And what that really means is that there is so much that we can do just by automating our delivery of things. There are so many touch points where we don't need to be involved anymore. And it doesn't matter if it's Amazon, Uber, eBay, or even our local supermarket or our electric company. We now all prefer to use self-service. We like getting the automated updates. We like the experience that we are having transactions with them where we don't need to call a call center because that's not always convenient. Somebody doesn't answer the phone. And I know personally when I'm ordering from Amazon, I like the fact that I can check the state of my order online and I can actually submit a query about the state of my order online. I don't have to phone anybody. I just have that interaction and they get back to me. And this is what Gartner is saying, that eventually we'll be automating as much of this as possible, all of this, and minimizing the need to handle the transactions manually. And of course, when we come to work, we expect to have the same experience. We expect to be able to contact HR or facilities or marketing, and we expect to be able to do it online. We expect them to respond online. We expect to be able to see the state of our interaction with them without us having to phone them up constantly and find out where things have got to. And we want to get away from those email trails, and especially when the email trail starts to break apart. We want to get away from the spreadsheets where all the data is stored on a spreadsheet if somebody remembered to enter it, and it's on the shared drive, and it may not be the latest copy, and it's not always updated, and then we have to do a backup and restore the wrong copy, and all of those issues we get with these transactions. We don't need to have those anymore, and it's time to move on. One of our examples, Pursuant Health, they reckon they're saving well over 6 figures a year. And when we look at where they're saving them, well, what they're doing is they're removing the redundant steps in processes. They're removing the extra bodies that handle transactions that are unnecessary. We can do things like auto-assigning a record to a department for fulfillment. So we no longer need somebody on the help desk to take a phone call who then decide who should fulfill it, who hand it on to the next person to fulfill. We can make the systems do all of that for us. We can report on these things automatically and by scheduled mechanisms, things like that, So we can see what's going on and we can manage those transactions very transparently for us and also evidence them to the customers transparently. So we no longer need to dig in the data, save it in a spreadsheet, manipulate it and turn it into a report. We can have instant, dynamic, real-time reports. And we can therefore monitor the SLAs on these transactions. Are we as efficient as we could be with these transactions? Can we make them faster? Nobody needs to touch a transaction who isn't an essential part of the delivery of that transaction. And I sometimes liken it to my trip to the restaurant. If I ordered a meal in a restaurant and everybody who had anything to do with getting my meal to my table repositioned the carrots on my plate, I just wouldn't want to eat my meal. But we're doing that in IT. Everybody who sees these things, including people who never need to see them in the first place, is moving the carrots around the plate, and it's just wasting time, effort, and money. And it's driven from two directions. We want to be more efficient, but first of all, our users' expectations of the services we provide are changing. They want more from us, but they want this to be a more automated experience, just like they get in their personal lives. The International Data Group defines the consumerization of IT as the propensity for users' experience with technology as consumers to impact their expectations regarding the technology experience at work. What does that mean? Well, when I go home, I log onto an internet to do Amazon or eBay, and I get a very clear experience with them. It's a very directed experience. When I come to work, I don't always get that same experience, and I just don't understand why it can't happen. Why can't I get a new mobile phone in the same way I can order a mobile phone from Amazon? 82% of organizations have already started automating the service delivery for their consumers, also the IDG as the source of this information. And this is looking to accelerate because the figure in 2014 was 55%. So we are moving forward in these automated transactions, but we can do more quicker. Many companies are now planning ahead for how they respond to their customer demands, and the Service Council shows that 70% of organizations are looking to increase their self-service resource. So plenty of people know that this is the way to go. 92% of internal users want the same experience that they get outside of work in their work environment as well. So we already have this information that we knew anecdotally that this is the way ahead. Many of our customers are also providing these experiences to their external customers, but not to their internal customers. So you may be an organization that provides to your external customers and you have a huge focus on this improved customer experience as somebody from the outside is buying services from you. But we don't put the same effort into our internal. And again, one of the retail organizations I'm working with has a huge online presence and a fantastic online experience, but their internal experience for their customers is just not comparable. It isn't a nice to have. This is costing money. Every time somebody handles a transaction, it is costing money and effort. So it's not just that wouldn't it be nice if our internal experience was the same as our external experience. It's actually our external experience is efficient and inexpensive. Our internal experience is inefficient and really expensive to maintain. And interestingly, IT actually leads the way in this internal service delivery. 98% of our CIOs believe that the other service areas, such as HR and facilities, could learn from what IT are delivering. 91% of organizations have implemented self-service technology for at least some of their IT support. And we see this. We've got websites that can present these IT service catalogs to our users. 84% of our CIOs estimated that the other departments are over-reliant on manual tasks. And we see this too. I've worked with an HR department recently where everything was phone calls and emails and spreadsheets. And that large organizations' HR was logging all of their tickets that they remembered to log on the spreadsheets. And this gives us all of the classic issues we see within IT. First of all, if somebody takes a phone call and doesn't make a note of it, then the transaction is lost and we've got an unhappy user. Next, if they take a note of it but don't include it to a shared list of transactions, they go to the dentist, they forget about it, we have an unhappy user. And this is unnecessary. We know how to do it for incident management. Well, we can equally show HR how they can provide that experience to their customers as we do to our customers in IT. And the lag is quite significant. CIOs reckon that only 46% of HR departments, 33% of facilities, and 27% of marketing departments carry out user satisfaction surveys, whereas 72% of CIOs said that they carried out the satisfaction surveys within IT. And that just says we're not even looking at the responses, we're just looking at the quantity of these organizations who are actually checking if their users are happy with the experience. So in IT, we're much more focused on this service delivery, whereas these other departments are not delivering, but they're also not that focused on that delivery. And our estimates and the figures that we're getting, we don't have the actual number because that would be hard to produce, but we're reckoning that we are wasting millions on these poor transactions and millions on duplicate systems. So we have these other organizational units that are making these transactions, and the ones that aren't doing them don't have systems to do them, but the ones that do have systems to do them are actually secondary systems like the Excel spreadsheet or something slightly beyond it that we are supporting. These other departments are either buying these systems outside of IT or buying them as shadow IT, but they still require support. They still have a cost. And what this means is that these systems have very poor support, or they have no support at all. They're duplicates of our systems, and if IT is expected to support them, we then have to skill up in supporting these other platforms as well. And we therefore have a loss both in the support cost and the license costs for these duplicated systems. Only 22% of our CIOs reckon that they use the same platform across several service lines. And this wasn't all service lines, this was only that a common platform was used in more than one place. So they're still using duplicate systems. And that's against a spending of $750,000 average on the technology to deliver these non-IT services. So there is a significant revenue stream in these non-IT services that could be recognized in IT and therefore be part of the IT budget. And this is because many departments are doing their own thing rather than investing in a coordinated manner. The graph, the way users interact with different internal services, and only 5% said it was completely consistent across the organization. 26% not at all consistent, just completely disparate systems. 34% reckon that they were doing a bit of common systems, common interactions. 35% reckon that they were doing mostly common interactions, but it still wasn't a given as an organizational principle. And what this means to us is that there are these multiple systems and the multiple ways that users are interacting. They just don't have a common experience. There's just not one standard way to deal with a request. So I go into one system and I ask for something from IT. I go to a completely different system that's got a completely different user experience to ask for something from HR. And this is the 22% of enterprises that use the same self-service platform across functional areas. And the 22% said nobody is using a common platform. 20% reckon that the majority use a common platform. 36% some. And 22% suggested that they are using a common platform across the whole business. But they're not suggesting that everything that could be automated and supported by IT platforms is supported. They're just saying that where they do, it is a common platform. The outcome of this, we estimated, is 1.52 billion is likely going to waste. And this is based on an average of 750,000 wasted from the survey applied to all 2,525 enterprise organizations with more than 1,000 employees. So we've multiplied up the number of 750,000 across all of the UK organizations that were potential candidates for the survey and come up with a number of 1.52 billion is going to waste in the UK. Okay, if that number is not the right number, it's still a significant number in there somewhere of expanded effort and expanded cost that is unnecessary. And this is a number that comes from the Business of Innovation and Skills and the Skills Office for National Statistics. And what we're suggesting here is that the reduction in the platform usage, multiple platform usage, multiple support costs, and therefore the reduction in license costs and support costs could actually start to reduce this figure and allow us to drive some benefit. And finally, what our CIOs felt was that other functions are reluctant to learn from IT. 98% of our CIOs, 90 out of 100 again, believe that non-IT functions can benefit from applying ITSM best practice. But less than half of the non-IT departments thought they could learn from IT. So what we need to do there is to go and talk to these departments and explain to them how we do understand the way things work and how we can take that knowledge forward. Because functions such as HR, facilities, and marketing just don't think they can learn from us, and it's this feeling that's driving this investment in duplicate systems and shadow IT. And this is a summary of the actual answers from those CIOs. If we come back to one of our customers, we've established, we have case studies on the opportunities for an improvement, and one of our case studies is a Waitrose, and we did work with them around business continuity planning, the business continuity, not IT continuity planning, and the business continuity planning function said we could see what they were doing and they could adapt it from ServiceNow to themselves. There's a significant opportunity for us to improve productivity, enhance the employee engagement, and create unified automated delivery of service, and therefore reduce the duplication of investment in self-service technology, and also reduce those risks and the governance issues and all of the other things that come from non-IT departments buying IT services when we either have platforms for them or have really good mechanisms to support the way they're working. And CIOs are in the perfect position to help their organizations realize these benefits. In many places, IT is spearheading the development of automated integrated service, and we know a lot about how to do it, but we apply it to IT. Well, we can take it beyond IT to our other colleagues and show them how to do it as well. And our survey is demonstrating that IT is one of the most service-orientated organizations in departments in any organization. And by engaging with the users, we can find out what they want and actually give them a much more beneficial experience than they're having today. So, the 4 points of what CIOs can do to take this forward. We can carry out an application review. We need to look at the estate and find out exactly what's going on, exactly what all of the applications in use are. We know there's disparate applications out there, but exactly how big is the issue? And then start to understand what those applications are and what they're doing and what they're not doing, because one of the benefits of understanding what's out there is we may well find out that people aren't as happy as they would like to think with the application they've got, and we can bring them back into the fold by offering them something better and also ensuring that we give them the common platform and the better experience that we know lots about. And we're looking for redundancy, duplication, applications that are due for retirement, and we can consolidate the license cost, the support cost, and also the application data once we understand what it looks like. The next step is we need to build a business case for enterprise service management. Now, this is much more than IT service management. This is everything we know about IT service management, but applied beyond IT. And the business case is supported because integrating service delivery across the enterprise, it may need some high-level buy-in, but it will actually start to influence some high-level cost savings. And it should be based on the cost savings that can be delivered just by avoiding the duplication of systems. and the increased productivity that can be achieved by automating manual processes and by driving those inefficiencies and those redundancies out of those processes. If your organization is already using a sophisticated platform for IT support, such as ServiceNow, the CIO should be able to readily demonstrate the increased return that can be achieved by this investment. Now, ServiceNow is not new to this game, and we've got plenty of cases in our history in IT where somebody's come along and asked for a product, for example, in facilities management. How do I manage the spillages, the broken windows, the broken desks, and how do I achieve that? Or lots of other platforms through our time, we've modified the incident record and given access to facilities and showed them how to use that. We don't need to do that anymore. We don't need to kludge a platform to achieve it. We have a platform in front of us that can actually achieve it, and ServiceNow's focus now is on enterprise service management and expanding what we know beyond IT. So we can give them everything we need to in automation. And if we can also show them how to improve their processes and reduce their repetitive tasks, it's been calculated that on a large corporation of 5,000 employees, we could save the equivalent of 2,000 employees. Now, I'm not saying we will lose 2,000 employees. We're saying we can give back to the organization 2,000 employees worth of effort to be more constructively used. This equates to 4 million hours. And that's, you know, your organization could be 20% more efficient by improving the way we're handling transactions through a good IT platform and good business processes. And we can showcase that from what we've already developed in IT. We can actually show the business how IT's catalog and IT's automated delivery is achieving efficiencies within IT, and we can say, right, now let's try it for HR. Let's show HR how we can remove the redundancies from the way they handle records, improve the efficiency. And again, we've had a case of this fairly recently. It's another one of our white papers where we helped an organization to improve their HR. Now, they already had a business process, a business organization review in place, but they set an expectation that they would achieve efficiencies in 6 months. They actually started to see them getting close to those figures in the first 2 weeks. There was an argument that they'd misunderstood the figures, but in actual fact, when we checked back through their expectations and those figures, it wasn't that they got the numbers wrong. It was just that the uptake was so rapid and the user perception was so good so quickly that they'd achieved the figures they intended in a much quicker time. And they did this through a better platform and IT engagement to help them develop the processes for case management, which just looked like an incident management piece. Third point is to create a consistent consumerized user experience. And this isn't just for IT, this is across the whole organization. Doesn't matter whether I'm asking facilities for a replacement chair or I'm asking IT for a replacement laptop. My experience could be the same. And once my experience is the same, my users have much more familiarity in how to use it. They're much happier. It's much more like an Amazon or an eBay experience. And they feel like they're getting a good service just by the fact that what they click looks better to them. But we can actually use everything we learn from supporting that as well. So when we actually fulfill it, getting a chair in front of a user's desk is no different to getting a laptop onto a user's desk. It requires the same sort of steps, and we can automate and reduce that experience so far that it costs us very little to achieve it. And again, CIOs are ahead of the game. IT support already does it. We already know how to get a laptop from a catalog and a self-service portal to a user's desk. Well, let's show facilities that as well. Let's show them how we do that and then help them develop their processes to achieve the same thing for facilities. And equally, if there's a spillage in reception, well, it's no different to an IT incident with a printer in the user environment. Let's show them how we handle a printer failure and then teach them to handle a spillage in the same way. And then they're benefiting from our experience, but also the users benefit from that better service. Some of the organizations are calling it a concierge service, the concept of a single, easy-to-use portal, which makes it possible for employees to access everything they want through the same place. And it doesn't matter if they're asking about pensions, booking a room, ordering a laptop, setting up training. They go to one place, they click on very similar buttons, and they get the same experience of delivery for those. And from ServiceNow's perspective, what we're looking at is you use Facebook. Some of us use Facebook to keep in touch with our friends. We use LinkedIn to keep in touch with our career. Well, we can use ServiceNow to keep in touch with our work experience. And they're very similar presentations. They have similar transactions. What you achieve from them is different, because at work you get a laptop. When you go to LinkedIn, you get a new job. But we can have the same experience for those transactions, and they're familiar experiences, and we're comfortable with them. We know how they work. ServiceNow is actually redefining this. They're focusing on this happening. And they've done this not just as an idea, but working with some of the largest organizations in the world. And they're already transforming these organizations. And we've got the IT service model, as I've already said. We know how to get something from a requester through the service taxonomy. So that means we're looking in the catalog. Where do we find it? We order it in the catalog. Somebody fulfills it. We're really comfortable it's going to happen, and we report on what that fulfillment takes. We know how to do that in IT. Well, let's give that to the enterprise. And we've taken what was the IT service model and translated it very comfortably into an enterprise service model. We know how to do it. Let's show our colleagues how to do it. And this is transforming the service management into an enterprise level discipline. And we've already got a lot of it built in in ServiceNow. ServiceNow has modules for HR, for legal, for marketing, for facilities. But where we're missing those modules in ServiceNow, we also have a platform that allows us to build those modules. So we can actually take everything we know about this, but build ourselves a brand new process for a brand new department that we've not exposed already as a given in ServiceNow, and build them a similar experience. And this is the application development part of ServiceNow. And step 4 for our CIOs, we can use tools that generate rapid results. And you sort of know where I'm going to go with this conversation again. CIOs know the benefits of being able to demonstrate rapid but reliable results, including getting the buy-in from the senior decision makers and the high levels of user satisfaction that we can develop. We do have exposure to this. We know about this. And we can use these tools for this ESM development to accelerate it across the rest of the enterprise, to get these guys moving forward, to get HR off their spreadsheets, to get legal off the paper copies of everything that they keep and the email trails, and take them into a platform. And ServiceNow are offering that because they're modeling the enterprise model as opposed to the IT model. And it starts with IT right in the middle, and that's where ServiceNow has come from, but we've expanded out through finance and legal and marketing and HR, and these are all case management pieces. They're all about task management. They're all about data. And one of the other benefits is once we start to achieve this crossover into other departments, we have one common list of users, of organizations, of locations. All of the data that we're holding is a common data set. But in the reverse of this, we can go from an HR record to that user, and we can also understand that user's IT experience alongside their HR experience. So with this common data source, we can start to understand much more about our organization across the piece, and we can start to increase the benefit we provide because of that level of data that we've got. And as I mentioned before, if it's not something in HR, marketing, facilities, finance, legal, we can build an application to support it, so we can start to support other departments as well. And over the top of all of this, we can then add some common practices, such as our governance, our vendor management, our financial management, our resource management, demand, and the most important part of it, the analytics. Once we've got this common data source and this understanding of the way these processes are working, we can start to move into the reporting and understand it at a management level. So we've gone all the way from the common platform, which gives us much more control and visibility and security, across to our capability to give the other departments some process support and show them how to do their task management, case management better, to also being able to show them how to understand what they're doing better, to analyze that data, and to be able to get them into an improvement cycle, very much like our own incident management improvement cycle. Well, Fruition Partners have taken those things that we learned from ServiceNow, and we've taken it one step further as well. And we've added something called Lift to ServiceNow, and that allows us to give you the benefit of our experience very quickly out of the box. So not only can we deploy things in a bespoke way for you, but we've also got a standard portal which we believe improves on everything ServiceNow has taught us. I'm going to pass back to Tina now, and she'll take any questions that we've got online. Tina, do we have any questions?
Thank you so much, John. We've got 2 questions. So the first one is, where do I start?
Thank you, Tina. So where to start? Well, it's that very first review of your estate. You need to look at the whole estate and figure out all of the applications that are being used, and then start to look for the ones that are performing poorly and can be replaced fairly rapidly. Where are the users not particularly happy with the experience? You know, you may have an HR ticketing system, but the users feel that their tickets get lost, they're not being followed up, there's no SLAs on them. Or you may have no ticketing system, it may be a pure email setup and Excel spreadsheets. Equally, where we can offer some instant value to the users and to HR in replacing that with a platform.
Thanks, John. We've also got, how do I manage all this?
How do I manage all that? That's a good one. Okay, so, well, the very first thing is the old classic story. It's like eating an elephant. We're not going to get to the end game very rapidly. We need to start to look at a strategy. We need to start to look at how we want to address it. We need to get our business level buy-in for this. And then, having got the review of the estate, we start to understand what the issues are, and we look for those quick wins early, but we also look at which pieces are going to take a significant piece of work. And we can manage all of this through the systems we've got as well, but we need to develop a plan and a strategy for taking all of this forward, and it all hangs off that review. We need to know what we've got, because it will be an individual case by case.
Thank you, John. Does anybody have any more questions that you'd like John to answer? I'll give you about a couple of seconds. Okay, let's go on to our next slide. Just going to quickly go through some of the events that we've got coming up. So Experience Now, you may have heard of it before. This is with ServiceNow. It's just a seminar to see how ServiceNow platform can give you end-to-end visibility into processes and infrastructure through the single system of record for IT. You can register now and receive your complimentary ebook with your ITSM Keeping Up with the Business. You'll receive that when you download the event. And then we've also got an upcoming webinar which will be hosted in the US. Are you taking full advantage of your service catalog? In that session, they'll be demonstrating how to use your service catalog for onboarding automation via orchestration, Active Directory, group management, and request fulfillment with SCCM. So those are up on our website. I'll also add a link before I send the PowerPoint to you next week. Thank you so much for everyone joining us. We really appreciate your time. And we'll speak soon. Thank you.